Hi. Okay, so Allie here. This week I want to talk about that unassailable asexual gold star ambassador idea. If you haven't watched Heidi's video from last week, please do. It's a great video and she gives a really good description, but I'm going to try to briefly describe what a gold star ambassador or the unassailable asexual is. Basically an asexual who is, an extrovert, or a very social introvert. They don't really have a history of abuse or like mental disorders, mental issues. Um, they are, attractive. So, people can't basically be like, well, you're asexual because you can't get any. Um, and they just basically, they are individuals, asexual individuals who can blend in with society. This is the idea of the unassailable asexual. And the question posed to us is, why do we think it's harming? What do we think is harming about, having only those kind of individuals represent the community? And there is pressure from the media and from even within the community sometimes to have pushed these individuals out there for visibility, and that can be harming because it shows, well, basically it kind of invalidates, it almost makes people, sets a, well, this person is more asexual than you because you have issues. But, really, don't we all have issues? I mean, it's not exactly exclusive to asexuals. Let's be honest. We're not a big enough part of the world to, have all of the issues or whatever. So, it hinders showing diversity, and it almost creates this idea of, well, this person has more valid asexuality than you do, and that is very harming. And so understand first, before I continue, that I do think that it is a bad thing to have only these individuals representing it, but I'm going to play devil's advocate for just a moment, okay? And I think to an extent it is important to have some of these individuals as representation. Not all of the representation for the community, but definitely a portion of it, right? Because there are so many stereotypes that, for people who know what asexuality is, that go along with it, that for so many people outside of asexuality who aren't asexual, these stereotypes are perceived very negatively. Now, I don't tend to see them negatively, and I know a lot of people in the community don't tend to see them negatively, because, I mean, these people are just, people, and we relate to them, so, I mean, it's not like we're the only ones who have these aspects to us. Plenty of sexual people do. But anyways, that's not my point. A lot of these stereotypes are very negative, like the negative stereotype that all asexuals are anime geeks who don't have any friends and sit at home on their computer all day, right? Well, I mean, these individuals exist to an extent, but it's not just an asexuality, and I really don't see why it's such a horrible thing. I'm not one of them, but, to each their own, right? But people perceive that negatively. And when you put somebody out there into the media that is perceived by most people as being an attractive individual, well-spoken, extroverted, fun, social, they don't really have any issues, that can kind of, it's like, it shocks people. And I think it makes them realize that asexuals aren't freaks, that we're people too, that we are normal everyday people, just like the rest of you out there. Really, is normal, doesn't normally even exist, but that's not my point. It's important to kind of, send the media's head spinning for just a little bit. Kind of like, oh crap, well, crap, we don't have any ammo against this person. We can't be like, well, you were abused in your past, so you're an asexual. Oh, well, you're very closed off. You don't have good social cues, so maybe that's part of it. Maybe you just don't understand, that part of life or whatever. Um, you're too afraid to get into a relationship, blah, 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 blah. I think it's important to send people out there who are ammo against that, who just are going to kind of baffle people, because they're like, what? But they seem so normal. Could they be asexual? You know, I think that's a good thing to do that. I mean, like I said before, that cannot be all of the representation because it really doesn't show how diverse the community is, which is one of my favorite things about it. But it's kind of, you know, I like to send people's heads spinning for a little bit, and if we can kind of have some of those people out there who will do that, then I think that's great. So yeah, that's my video for today. It was kind of, yeah. Alright, so, um, keep on keeping on, and I will see you all next week, hopefully. Oh, and I got a really bad haircut yesterday, so they chopped my bangs off like here, straight across. It was horrifying. And so I'm just going to kind of swipe them and put them to the side, you know, kind of like 1960s Mia Farrow-ish. So I kind of like salvaged them. And that was me being shallow for the day. All right. Peace.